Let me tell you, let no one deceive you. Biafra has everything it needs to govern itself. Biafra is not a tribe. We are a nation, a proud nation of Igbo. I was going through something yesterday night about Sudan, that is South Sudan, and how they got their independence, and I found something very intriguing. In fact, let me read out to you what I was going through, and you will see how South Sudan got their independence as near as 2011 through a referendum. That is the key word, through a referendum. I'm talking about South Sudan because they have lots of similarities with the struggle of Igbo and how we have also been trying to get our independence and our freedom via referendum. And this is the newest nation in Africa, in fact in the world. So let me read to you how it all happened. South Sudan gained independence through a long, painful struggle marked by decades of civil war, ethnic and political oppression, and eventually a referendum that allowed its people to decide their fate. What was the root cause? The root cause, just like that of Igbo, is marginalization and identity. Listen, after Sudan, that is the parent country itself, gained independence from Britain and Egyptian rule in 1956, the government of Khartoum, which is the capital, North Sudan, dominated by Arab Muslim elites, began to marginalize the largely black African South Sudanese, who are Christians and animist South. This laid the groundwork for a civil war. So as you see, this was brought about by marginalization and intimidation. This is exactly the same thing that the Igbo have been going through for decades in Nigeria. The same thing they went through that caused the first civil war, that Ojukwu went to war, the brutal killings of people in the north of Igbo stock, the labeling, the ethnic profiling, the genocides. This is exactly. And also the marginalization that happened to Igbo while Ojukwu started that civil war. So let's go on. There were two civil wars. One in 1955 to 1972, and second one 1983 to 2005. Now the first one started even before Sudan's independence. So that's to show you they have been fighting this thing since. These two countries, they don't meet, they don't share the same blood. But like Nigeria, the British also brought them together. You see the problem? How the British causes confusion and mixes bad blood together for their selfish purposes. They did this same thing they did in Nigeria to Sudan, merging Arabs together with blacks, merging Muslims together with Christians, people with distinct beliefs and ideology. Even their traditions were not even similar at all. Nothing brought them together, but the British brought them together for their selfish purpose. But this war has started even before the Sudan's independence. So even when the British were there, they were fighting themselves. They were always at loggerheads. So this was fueled also by Southern demands for federalism and autonomy. We want to take care of ourselves. We do not want to be with you. We share no ideology. You are wicked towards us even when you have the power. Because just like Nigeria, the British gave power to the northern part of Sudan. Listen to me. That's why I brought this Sudan story for you. Listen to me. The similarities in what is going on in Sudan, or what went on in Sudan, and what is still going on in Nigeria. The British gave power to the north, who were Arabs and Muslims, marginalizing the south. Intentionally. This is the British pattern. Instructed, of course, is normal. You always try to pin one side to the wall while you give the other side power so that you can plunder the resources. Guess where all the oil in Sudan was? Your guess is as good as mine. The South, the blacks, the Christians, they are the ones that have the oil. Britain never wanted them to have control of their resources. Now you understand the same thing going on in Nigeria. Let's go on. You will be shocked what I'm about to reveal to you today. Now, this crisis ended with the Addis Ababa Agreement in 1972, which granted some autonomy to the South because of the struggle. Now, South Sudan got something from that first war. They had the power now to at least govern themselves, in a form, still maybe paying obeisance to the federal, but at least they had their own regional government. This was something we did not get in the Biafran war. We should have gotten something from that war. Even if that, the war was lost and they declared it victor or vanquished, but they should have been a kind of like an agreement that Igbo should have gotten from that war that would have given a slight feel of victory. But that's for another day. Let's keep on going. The Second Sudanese War started in 1983. This one was sparked when the President Jafar Nimeri, which is the president of North Sudan, which is the Arab and whatever, he revoked the southern part's autonomy, which is what they agreed in the first war. He revoked it and also imposed Sharia law nationwide. Are you seeing what we are seeing? When we tell people that there is a plan to Fulanize and Islamize Nigeria, people don't believe it. It's happening. It happened in Sudan. It happened in Sudan. It happened in Sudan. And if it happens today in the southeast, guess the only person that can stop it? Nnamdi Kanu. Where is he? In prison. Now you can understand why they have him in prison, and you now believe that it is the British who personally kept him there because they have an agenda for Nigeria carried out by the Islamists, and they are in support of the Islamists. They did it in Darfur, Sudan. Now they're repeating it here in Nigeria because that one in Sudan actually failed because the South Sudanese, they were ready. Forget this thing we are doing here. The quarrel we are quarreling as in the Igbo, fighting ourselves. Sudan showed sample of what it is to stand for your rights. Let's go on. I will show you something. Just watch me. Forget whatever you're doing. Focus. Focus. So the president revoked the South autonomy and imposed Sharia law nationwide. Then the Southern Rebellion started, led by Sudan People's Liberation Army, SPLA, under John Garang. This became one of the deadliest conflicts in modern African history. Over 2 million dead, 4 million displaced. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Okay, then 2005. There was a comprehensive peace agreement called CPA. It was brokered by the international community, especially the US, the Intergovernmental Authority in Development, and the UN. It was signed between the Sudanese government, SPLA. It was signed between Sudanese government and the Southern Sudan, SPLA, on January 9th, 2005. What was the major provisions of this ceasefire? 1. A ceasefire and power sharing. Wealth sharing from oil revenues. 6 years of autonomous rule for the South. And also a referendum on independence in 2011. Now you see, because some people are saying that Nigerian government does not provide for referendum. The Sudanese government also did not provide for referendum. It was the struggle from the Sudanese that brought about this peace agreement. So they had to include it in the peace agreement that, see, yes, we are at peace. Yes, we agree to everything here. But we also want to have the ability to determine our future. Add it to that peace accord. And it was added there. Now, on that particular 2011 that the referendum was supposed to take place, the referendum held on January 9th, to 15th, 2011 as scheduled. It was overseen by international observers and it was largely peaceful. The results, 98.8, which is about 99% of South Sudanese voted for independence from Sudan. That means almost 100% voted for their independence. Then on July 9th, 2011, on July 9th, 2011, South Sudan officially became the world's newest country. The event was celebrated globally and Salva Kiir became the first president. So North Sudan, which is North now, which is the Sudan that you know now, became the first country to voluntarily lose a third of its landmass and most of its oil wells. They lost. They lost. So South Sudan didn't just win independence through diplomacy, it bled for it, suffered for it, and earned it through a fierce and enduring cry for freedom. It remains one of the purest modern examples of self-determination through a people's vote, but also a warning that nationhood requires more than the flag. It requires unity, justice, and leadership. A nation requires unity, justice, and leadership. This is exactly how South Sudan got their independence as recent as 2011. You can see the story of South Sudan and how they're enjoying, at least they're enjoying their country today, despite all this. This is exactly the same kind of thing that Igbo are looking for. And South Sudan passed through hell for it. Getting independence is not easy. And they finally got their independence through self-determination, referendum. But this referendum did not come cheap because they had to fight wars for it. They had to bleed for it. Yes, we are in 2025, and definitely you can say that, yeah, we can get independence without shedding any, without fighting, of course. But it's going to be difficult. And it's not going to come when we are fighting ourselves. It's not going to come when we have different groups fighting for Biafra and they cannot even see eye to eye. You have the MASOB, you have the BLF or BLZ, you have the IPOB, you have the BRGIE, and none of them are seeing eye to eye. And they all claim to fight for the people of Biafra. If these groups are fighting for Igbo, there should not be quarrel among them. There should be unity of purpose. Because you know very well that the enemy is going to seek to destroy your groups. It's going to implant people to frustrate you. Because the Nigerian government knows that self-determination is an enshrined right. So they want to bully you of your right, normally. And they will do it by trying to infiltrate your groups. That is why now you can see many of them quarreling themselves. Because of what? Because of what? Ask them now why they're quarreling. You can't tell you. Okay, even the Igbo leaders themselves don't even understand where their place is in Nigeria. An Igbo man cannot attain more than a senator in this country, or a minister in this country, or a governor. They can't attain more than that. It is the peak of their glory in the country. Is that not the same marginalization that's happened in Sudan? Are they blind to see? The difference is that the South Sudanese understood what was happening to them. But here in the Igbo, do not understand what is happening to them. It looks as if these Igbo people, they are blind. They are blind as they're being tortured. They are suffering and smiling. I have never seen a people who are as blind and proudly blind that they are being tortured, marginalized, siphoned in Nigeria, and they still accept it because of peanuts they're receiving. The South Sudanese understood that they were marginalized. They saw that they could not attain for high heights in Sudan, and they easily demanded for their own country. But look at Igbo, a governor, a senator, because of one position, he forgets about the general people he represents. Because the Igbo nation is under threat. That is it. Because when the leaders have given up hope, they can't even talk. The other day, Peter Obi was insulted by a governor. No Igbo leader came out to say, this is wrong. At least, I didn't say you should go and fight anybody. Saying this is wrong. Don't threaten Peter Obi. No. Governor, not one. Senator, not one. House of Assembly, not one. Who again? Minister, not one. From Igbo stock came out to speak. Came out to speak and condemn it. Why? Why? Tell me why. Because they are defeated. I'm telling you this. They are defeated. In Nigeria, Igbo as a people have been not only marginalized, but their leaders are being worn pampas. Their leaders are being used as slaves, treated anyhow, and they cannot do anything about it. I don't know how they sleep at night. They're even the first to betray you if you're not careful. They're the first to betray you. Because they are subservient to the greater nation. If South Sudanese worship the North like this, do you think they will be in their country today? They will not have even own lands in their state again. Because that Sharia law they imposed on them would have been holding effect till today. And the whole police in South Sudan would have been people from the North, the Muslims. And they would have been enslaved in their own country. Can't you see it's happening in Igbo land? Can't you see that Igbo land is being policed too much? Militarized too much? You cannot go to checking points. You cannot move 10 kilometers without seeing checking points. What do you think? Look at what's happening in the bushes, in the forests. You can see how everywhere has been filled with kidnappers, filled with Fulani terrorists. And you're telling me that you are not already being taken over? Your lands are the next thing they're coming for. Your lands are the next thing they're coming for. Because definitely, the way it is going, this Nigeria, Igbo will not have any place to call home again if they continue doing what they have to do. They will take away everything and force you to go overseas. Because all we like is to travel abroad. Small thing, I've left Nigeria, I've gone abroad. That's what they want you to do. Oh, you're talking, man. Igbo, arise. Igbo, unite. This referendum we want, let's unite and find a referendum. Nnamdi Kanu is in the cell. It doesn't stop the Igbo struggle. It doesn't stop the Igbo fight. It doesn't stop the Igbo cause. It doesn't stop it. And lastly, let nobody tell you that you are a less privileged or you are a second-class citizen or you will never get your Biafra. Let nobody tell you. Because definitely, every dream definitely can come to pass. South Sudan are living the dream today. Tomorrow we can wake up, as Nnamdi Kanu used to say, we'll sleep in Nigeria one day and wake up in Biafra the second day. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Turn on notification and click on that bell that says all to get notified whenever we drop a video. To all my supporters, family around the world watching me from all the countries in the universe, I greet you, I respect you, and I thank you very much for being there. Please remember that Igbo man around you is your brother. Show love, care, and support when you can. Let's love ourselves and let's come together. I've been your host, Chi Ne Du. Thank you for watching this video. So I'll see you next one. Peace.